My name is Mason Fernandez, and today I will be talking about my story. So just a little bit about myself. I am the RA of Huntington Hall's 5th floor. Shout out to the 5th floor guys. And next year I will be the student government president. And I am super excited to serve the Vanguard community and get to know new people and get to know more of you. And yeah, that's some of the things that I'm involved in and going to be involved in here on Vanguard's campus. And I'll jump straight in. So just like a little heads up, my story, there are going to be some, just like any other story, there are going to be some sad parts, but I'm going to try to focus on the positive side because, I don't know, that's just a little bit of like who I am. So I've always been a Christian. I was baptized when I was a kid, and I've been a Christian ever since. But like I have struggled with certain things, so I'm just gonna focus more on like how I've grown in my faith, and so just I'm gonna focus on how I've grown in my faith, and just God's presence in my life. Something that stood out to me, or something that I feel relates to my story is the lyrics of Waymaker, especially the parts, even when I don't see it, you're working, even when I don't feel it, you're working. So I'll just start. My story starts in the great city of San Diego. I was born in San Diego, and I lived there for the first 3 years of my life, until I believe it was 2004 when we decided to move to the Philippines. This was because my biological father abused me and my brothers. My brother Lance, who also goes, you probably know him. He also attends Vanguard. He talked about it in his My Story Matters. But so when my mom found out that our biological father was abusing us, she did everything in her power to keep us safe from him, and everything that she tried doing wasn't working. She just decided that like the best way to keep us safe was to bring us to the Philippines. And I'm half Filipino. My mom's Filipino. So we went to the Philippines, and that's, I don't know, it's just like a big change, especially for our mom, because we only spent a couple of the first like 3 years of her life there here in the States. However, our mom spent however many of her years in the States, and so it's just kind of like a big change for her. But like she gave up like her job, she gave up. Just like she basically gave up her whole life to keep me and my brother safe. And like it's just crazy thinking about, like, I don't know, thinking about that sometimes, and like how much my mom sacrificed for me and my brothers. So yeah, we left the States, we moved to the Philippines. The start was pretty rough. I don't remember much of the move, but we moved around from city to city. Luckily we had some family that were willing to let us stay with them. And then like I said, like we moved around, we moved from school to school. But yeah, like it was such a big change. Over there we were different because we were half white, and that's the side that people saw in the Philippines. And so we were always seen as foreigners. But yeah, so like, there are a lot of things that we experienced like while growing up over there. But yeah, through everything, like I'm here today because of God's grace, and I feel so blessed of like everything that I have, and like I feel blessed of everything that God has done for me. And a very big part of my life, or a very big influence, the top two biggest like influencers of my life is God and my mom. And like I feel like, not I feel like my mom, because of how God worked through her, like, so he's blessed me by giving me such an awesome mom. She, despite all the hardships that like we experienced, like growing up in like a different country, like not really having like things that are like established, and like we didn't really have, we didn't have like a house, like as when we moved there, we didn't have a house ready for us. We didn't, my mom didn't have a job lined up for her. This was all just, it was like an in the moment decision because of our mom's love for me and my brothers, and just her desire to keep us safe. So yeah, just like everything that like she's done, like seeing how she like prioritized us and like showed me like how much she loves us, and like it showed me like how I should love others, and it, like I see how like I should be, or like how I don't know, like a Christian is supposed to be, by like watching like the things that, like my mom has done for like for me and my brothers and the people around us. So yeah, so that's where I get a lot of my Christian values from, is from my mom, and a lot of the things that I do today, or like how I act today, is because of her. And like she taught me how to, or like she taught me how to like kind of see the positives of every situation. I could have used my experience of like growing up in a third world country as an excuse to just like, I don't know, not really care about my life, and like yeah, like a lot of like bad situations could have come out of that. But because God has blessed me with such an amazing mom, I didn't end up that way. She has ever since like we were little, she's taught me how to grow in my faith, and she we would always like we would always engage in conversations like about God, and she was always real with us, because it was just us and her. It was my older brother Lance, and my mom and me, and so like we only had each other. So she was real with us when it came to things that were important, or when it just came to like anything really. Yeah, so like a lot of who I am today, or if not all of who I am today, was influenced by my mom, and just like and how God like worked through her in influencing my life as well. And yeah, so like there are a lot of like hardships. Our biological father traveled to the Philippines to kind of track us down. I lived in fear of him finding us, and I don't know, and like bringing us back to the States away from our mom, who's protected us all our lives. And I remember him like making his way to our school, and I saw him, and I just started crying, because I thought this was the day that I'm taken away from my mom and brought back to the States, where who knows what would happen if he had custody of us again. But yeah, there were just like a lot of like it happened more than once, where he would like just like track us down somehow, and like try to find us on social media, and yeah, it was like that part of life was pretty tough, but thankfully, praise God that after that, like the school ended up like kicking him off like the premises, and then our mom was contacted later, and then she was able to pick us up and bring us home. And then he even like visited our home, and brought like the village to or the community, the people in charge of the community, to like talk to me, my mom, my brothers, but then again, like thank God, like these are like the little bits and pieces. These are the things that I have seen of God like working in our lives, is that like we were able to secure a permanent protection order from him in the Philippines, so he couldn't get within like around like 300 feet. He couldn't get any closer than 300 feet to either of us. And I remember going to court and like talking about that there in the Philippines to get that in place. And yeah, like praise God that like it went through, and then we could actually feel safe in the Philippines. But yeah, like throughout everything, throughout all that, throughout living in fear, I was able to grow up, and growing up in the Philippines has taught me to be appreciative of everything that I have, to not compare myself, even though like sometimes it is like tough. I do find myself comparing myself to others, but like when like I think about like what actually like counts, like it doesn't matter like what others have. It doesn't matter how much others have, like I don't know, compared to me, because I know like everything that God has blessed me with, I wouldn't be here without God working in my life, working in my family's life. I taught to be compassionate there in the Philippines, and like I would not have known about a lot of things that happen in the world if it weren't for growing up there. Even though if it could have been like I mentioned before, really bad experience, and that could have changed me for the worse. I believe it changed me for the better, and I think that even though it wasn't in my plan and my mom's plan for us to move to the Philippines, because of what happened to us, and as a result, we ended up moving to the Philippines. We had the opportunity to grow up in the Philippines, and I believe that really shaped my character, and my brothers and my mom, and we were able to like grow together, learn about God over there in the Philippines, just like growing our faith. We had a church over there that was very just like really good church that like we learned a lot from. And that's where a lot of my Christian values came from, along with like what my mom taught me. And yeah, so that's just like a little bit of how life was in the Philippines. It's an amazing place. I still consider it home. But yeah, so I still consider it home. I consider Vanguard home as well. I consider my home in Menifee, shout out Menifee, home as well. But yeah, so in a way, like I have like I have homes like here in the States. I have home like back in the Philippines. Like a piece of me will always like love and miss the Philippines. Hopefully I can visit soon. But yeah. So the original plan for us coming back to the States, we weren't sure. There's a lot of uncertainty like when we would be able to come back. My brothers and I thought that we would all get to go back when we were 18, because then we would be adults, and our biological father wouldn't be able to do anything like to try to get custody of us because we're 18. However, like another piece of like how like God worked in our lives is that my older brother first moved back to the States in 2017, and then my Lance and I moved back later on in 2018, and a lot of things could have went wrong. Our biological father could have showed up and taken us into his custody, and it could have just been like a whole lot worse, because our grandparents and my mom wanted us to experience like finish high school here and then like go to college here. So we moved back earlier than intended. I thought that we'd always have to wait till we were 18, but we were able to move back when my brother and I, Lance and I, were 16, and I believe like when my older brother moved back a couple months earlier, he was 16 as well. But yeah, so like, and that's another experience of mine, because we were kind of like detained at the airport when we moved back. because we were known as missing children. And then so we were held at the airport for like 3 hours, like just like not knowing what was going to happen. And then we got the go signal that we could go home. And then my brother and I still, we weren't sure if our biological father was going to show up at any point. And like I said, praise God, I still have not seen him to this day, and I'm so happy that he isn't trying to involve himself in our lives. And despite everything that he's done to me, my brothers, my mom, I hold nothing against him. Like that's another thing. That's another I don't know point, or yeah, another point that I like to talk about. Like my mom taught me and my brothers forgiveness. She taught us like I mentioned before, she taught us the Christian values, and one of the biggest things that she taught us was the idea of forgiveness, and that he has done so much wrong to me and my family, and I have every reason to hate him, to wish all these terrible things on him, but I don't. And like sometimes that even surprises me, because I don't know, like if you like see in movies, people just like go out for revenge, but yeah, I feel no hate towards him, and I just wish that like he would continue to stay out of our lives, and yeah, just because we've been fine like so far, and I'm like I mentioned before, like I'm so grateful that he hasn't shown up. But yeah, so that's just like one of the other ways, one of the many ways that both my mom and through God, both my mom and God has like impacted my life. So like coming back here, we weren't sure of like what was going to happen yet, like at least for the period between the time period between us being 16 and us being 18. But once we reached 18, we were sure that there was nothing that our biological father could do to us anymore, because we're adults now. So yeah, my mom and I have a little brother too, are still in the Philippines, and if I would really appreciate prayers for them to be able to join us here in the States, because I miss my mom, and the reason why she's not here with us is also because of our biological father. I haven't seen her in a couple years now, so I just like appreciate prayers. And like a lot of people ask like, oh, like why'd you move to the Philippines? And when people ask like, oh, like why can't your mom be here? Or I'm sure like that's what some people are thinking. It's because of this really, I don't know, complex situation of I don't know how my life has been, or like how my life has been since moving to the Philippines. It's just been super different. I know everyone like has like different stories, and like no one really has like a normal life, but yeah, this is my normal. So yeah, the real reason why we like moved to the Philippines is what I just said. Is usually when people ask, because it's like, oh, you were born in the States, why would you move to the Philippines? Like the States is like a lot more opportunities, has better schooling, and so I just my brothers and I usually just say, oh, we have family over there, and it's just like a decision that our family made, which is true. But yeah, like the reason behind this, the reason behind us like staying there for the majority of our lives, we've been there 13 years, is because of like what I said with the situation with our biological father. But yeah, so we made it back to the States, thank God, without any trouble, and I just feel so blessed just to be here. I remember what it was like thinking about going back to the States. I knew that like we would have to wait a while. I didn't know how long, like I said, like I expected to be able to come back here when I was 18. But yeah, thankfully we were able to move back when we were 16. And I remember just like thinking like a lot of my time there was like, oh, like when do I get to go back to the States? I wonder what life is like in the States. I wonder how school is like in the States. I wonder what my life would have been like if I stayed if I stayed here in the U.S. But then yes, like even though like the majority of my time there in the Philippines was, oh, when do I get to go back in the States? It wasn't until later on where I realized God has shown me so much during my time here in the Philippines. And like a lot of people ask, oh, like why'd you go to the Philippines? Like was it a mission trip? And I'm like, no, I live there. But yes, like I've experienced like so much, and like I don't believe I would be the same person as I am today if I didn't grow up in the Philippines. And I just think that's such a wonderful thing that God does in people's lives, is that even if it doesn't go according to plan, and it could go like way off course, he still manages to show the good aspects of every situation, even in a situation as bad as my family's. And I'm actually grateful for the chance to grow up in the Philippines. So like moving back here, we came back for our senior year of high school, so we at least had like a little taste of like what high school is like here. And like it's something that like I dreamed about. It might be kind of funny to some people, but that is kind of my dream, to spend at least a year of high school here in the States. So like when it was time for like college applications, I'm gonna be honest, like I applied to Vanguard the last minute, like literally a couple of minutes before midnight on like the day that it was the day that it was due. But like I didn't know this at the time, but it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I didn't give my college application to Vanguard like much thought. And I know a lot of people have said that like they felt like they belonged here after like touring Vanguard. I didn't actually get a tour of Vanguard. But like I talked to like my admissions counselor, I talked to my grandparents, and there's just like, a lot of things that happened like in between, and we ended up going to Vanguard. Both me and my brother, which also wasn't intended. A lot of people ask us that as well. Oh, did you like intend to go to the same college? And honestly, no, I thought that we would have to separate, but like I said, like thank God that I was like, it's been wonderful going to school with my twin brother. But like I've well, like I mentioned at the beginning of my story, I've always been a Christian, but like being here at Vanguard, going to school with like a bunch of other people who are strong in their faith, it showed me that like there were some things that I was doing that wasn't very Christ-like, and it wasn't until like I attended Vanguard that like I realized that. And so like Vanguard is also a really big part of my story, a big part of my faith, and like how I've grown in my faith. Yeah, just like through like chapels and through like the community, the Vanguard community, which I so love very much. All the friends that I've made, all the connections that I made have been so impactful in my life. And from like not really giving Vanguard much thought, right now I can't imagine my life without like being here at Vanguard. Yeah, just helped me grow so much, and like open my eyes, and like it helped me grow as a Christian, and like what we should be doing as Christians. Yeah, so like that's how I've grown like during my time here at Vanguard. And I'm like I said, like this is another like instance like I applied just to apply to Vanguard, but I feeling like that was like God's plan, like because even after getting into Vanguard, getting accepted to Vanguard, I still was like, oh, like I'm not sure if I'm going to go here. And then now I'm here, and I thank God for I don't know if he like, I don't know, secretly told me to apply to Vanguard, but like I said, I applied the last couple minutes, and I'm so glad I did, because I wouldn't be here today if not for that. But yeah, so just yeah, like now like I'm here at Vanguard. I like everything that I've carried with me throughout all my life experiences in both the Philippines, here in the States, as a student leader here on campus, all the hardships that I've experienced, all the life lessons I've learned, everything God taught me, everything my mom taught me, like all these factors have shaped me into who I am today, and I am thankful for the good and the bad, even though like I do have some regrets. They are things that like I don't wish for things to be different, because like I said, like if somehow like I did grow up in the States, like I'm almost sure that like I would not be who I am today, and I'm proud of the person I am today. I love to I would love to be a light in the world. That's why I do my best to be the, I don't know, as positive as I can, and try to like be, I don't know, show others like how like God is working through my life by like how I act, because I know that God is behind everything, and I know that He has a plan for me, the people around me, people all over the world, and I know that like He is working, like like I said, even though if we don't see it, even though if we don't feel it, He is working. And like if you know that God is working, then like why worry about little things? Like to God, like the biggest things that you stress about are nothing compared to Him. So I just encourage you to just trust in God, and just kind of like look back at your life, look back in your life, and your past experiences, and just like see how He's been working, even though like you may have not noticed it before. I think it's like super important to like reflect on like how God has worked in your life, and like so you could apply that to like your testimony, to like, and like maybe that would like even bring like others to Christ. That's my goal. I want to use my story to bring people closer to God, because like I know everything He's done for me, and like I know I've been saying this, but like I would not be here without Him. Who knows what kind of person I'll be without Him. And so yeah, like I just be thankful for like what God has blessed you with, and yeah, just continue following the example that Christ set, that Christ has set for us, and yeah, like that's my story, and those are all the things that I've learned, and that like I would like to like I said, like use as a way of like evangelizing to like the people around me, like strengthening those people, strengthening the faith of Christians, and hopefully being a light to those who don't know Christ yet. So I just encourage you to spread the good word, spread the gospel, and to those who don't know Jesus yet, pray for them, and just reflect on your life, on how God has worked in your lives. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to my story. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to share my story. I've been wanting to share my story. Like I said, like there are people that have listened to my story already. However, like it was something that I was scared of people knowing about, like in the past, because yeah, I was just worried that people would find out. But now I want people to know, and I'm glad that people do know. So thank you so much, and I wish you the best rest of the semester.